and welcome to QPR Preview Show, episode 22 already this season. And what a match we have in store this week to preview against Huddersfield. Undoubtedly the biggest match of the season so far. I don't even think we really need to build it up. It's just massive, live on Sky on Sunday. And QPR must be taking some confidence into the game after a first win of 2024 and a first win in 8 games to boot against Millwall. An enjoyable afternoon for once, Dave.
Yeah, it was for once. It was a really good result. I thought we actually played better against Watford last week when we lost, but it was so important to get the win. I didn't really care how we played, which was a bit of a shaky start. But once we got in front, we always say about getting that first goal. We just looked a different team and looked reasonably comfortable for most of the game. They had a couple of chances like at 1-0, but nothing really major. And to get that second goal, and especially Armstrong getting it in front of the loft, it was just a great end to the day, And, it gives a boost as well. It's been, what was it, 8 games without a win before that. All of a sudden we're back in the mix again when it all looked dead and buried a week ago. Now it's like, actually, we have still got a chance. There's still a long way to go.
It was enjoyable, but thank God we got the second goal you mentioned because it was getting a little bit nervy. I know Millwall didn't create that many chances, but you just kept thinking it's going to end up 1-1. But it was at least nice that we could enjoy the last 5 minutes or so. And it was a deserved win. Even the Millwall manager acknowledged that, didn't he, after the game? And can you recall a match in recent years for QPR where the opposition only had 2 shots, 1 shot on target? It was a very solid defensive performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were excellent defensively. I mean, Cook coming back was a massive boost for us, wasn't it? I mean, we looked so much of a better side when he was playing. And just Colback's performance, he was very different to what we've seen all season. He looked like the player I thought we'd signed in the summer. He was very disciplined. He protected the back four. He used the ball well. He was really good, and it really helped us. We were hard to break down, and they seemed to lack on us. They didn't. I mean, let's be honest, Millwall didn't play well, did they? On the day, they were poor on the day, but we did look solid, and we have looked reasonably solid. Apart from set pieces, we've been doing okay defensively the last few weeks. But having Cook back in that side, looking at that starting 11, it was probably our strongest team, wasn't it? And we always look better when Cook's playing.
Oh, we do, yeah. I think we only lost one of his last 5 appearances, and that was even when he came on as a late sub at Sheffield Wednesday. We are like a chalk and cheese team with him in the side. You're right to mention Jack Colback as well. He probably watched last week's show, maybe. We criticised him, fired him up for the game, but kudos to him. It was definitely his best performance for the club. Most people, I think, had him down as man of the match. I think we both, or everyone, not just us, know how important both of them are to QPR's chances. We've also hit the moment in the season where Marty Cifuentes has been in charge for 14 league games, which is the same amount as Gareth Ainsworth had managed before he was sacked. We put up some stats on Twitter this week. Some of them are on the screen now. The comparison, every single stat under Marty Cifuentes has headed in the right direction. Some of the key ones, the points per game. Ainsworth was on 0.57. Cifuentes is on double that at 1.14. In Ainsworth's 14 games, we had a goal difference of -16. It's actually positive. It's +1 in the 14 games for Cifuentes. Possession, we were 23rd in the league on 37%. That's gone up by about 8%. It's crazy. Passing accuracy is up too. In my opinion, he's the best thing about QPR at the moment. Does he give you hope still we can survive?
Oh, yeah. All the hope's based on the manager, to be honest. I mean, I do think if he'd come in the summer, or if he'd come in when they first wanted him a year or so ago, we wouldn't be in this mess. I think we'd be fine. He's done a really good job. I mean, he hasn't been able to bring anyone in, really. It's the same players. He's just got so much more out of everyone, We play better football. We look a lot more organised. The stats spell it out, really. But, you've only got to see the game. There's so much of a better team to watch. And you feel like you've got a better chance of getting points under Cifuentes than we had under Ainsworth. He just looked we were really struggling under Ainsworth. It was a hard watch at times. It was quite sad towards the end. Even in the games we've lost, we've been in them. We haven't really been hammered. We've been quite close in games. He's our best chance of staying up. The longer we can keep him, the better. I think he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, definitely. No matter what happens, he gives me hope for the future, no matter where QPR end up. I just like everything about him, to be honest, even his interviews, the way he talks. And of course, where we do end up next season is going to be massively influenced by this match now coming up against Huddersfield. Now, firstly, the stats against Huddersfield don't bode well. QPR have only won 1 of the last 12 games against Huddersfield, and even that was a late 1-0 win that we sneaked. But obviously, like QPR, Huddersfield are struggling this season. They've only won one of their last 10, and that was against Falter in Blackburn on Boxing Day. They've only won 2 of 14 away games this season, and only one of them was in the last 4 months. As I said at the start, Dave, we don't even need to build it up, do we? Can't exaggerate how important this match is.
No, it's massive for us, and it's just a massive opportunity. We can go above them with a win, get ourselves out the bottom three for the first time in God knows how long. It's just massive for us. I think this was probably been the one we've looked at for a while and thought, if we can be in touch and distance of them by the time we play them, it's a chance to get out. I'm sure Huddersfield will look at it as an opportunity as well, because if they do beat us, like they've got a good record against us, we're back to square one. Really, we're quite adrift of them. So, although it's a massive game for us, a win would just be massive, wouldn't it? If we can just get that win on Sunday, it makes such a difference to us.
Yeah, at Christmas, we obviously had the chance to come out the bottom of three and we blew it. It feels to me that we've got the chance again. Obviously, we know we're going to be out the bottom of three with a win, but you feel like this time it's an opportunity we cannot waste. If we lose this game and fall 6 points behind again, I just feel like we're giving ourselves too much to recover, and the knock it'll probably give everybody, the fans. It just has a make or break feel about this game. As for Huddersfield, they've already had a busy transfer window. I think their owner actually came out and said the first half of the season was disappointing and that he was still aiming to be back in the top flight within 3 years. And they spent a few £1 million. They are making it clear they don't want to stay in this division, or they want to stay in this division. And what have you made of their transfer business?
Yeah, they've been busy. I mean, I don't know a lot about the guys they signed. Healy, they got from Watford, played against us the other week. I thought he was okay. 2 million, it was the rumoured fee. That does seem a lot from what he showed, but obviously they see something in him. It's nice that they're, it'd be nice if we was in that position where we could spend a bit, but time will tell. To me, they don't look massively stronger from what they've done so far. They've got some decent players in their side, and they've done well to start last year. But like I always say, like a lot of this league, on their day they can beat anyone, but they're not an amazing team or anything like that. It's a game we should really be going out and trying to win. We're just as good, if not better, than them on paper, in my opinion.
Yeah, the guy they got in from Finland scored a lot of goals in that league, but whether that translates into the championship, it's always a big question mark, isn't it? Got a defender in from the Dutch top flight. And famous last word, you mentioned him, Reece Healy. I thought he was disappointing when he was playing for Watford, so hopefully he throws in another performance like that. And as much as we know it's a big game for QPR, Huddersfield know this is their chance to almost move towards survival, doesn't it? If they can get a big 6 point gap over the bottom three, just huge. As for QPR, it was a good performance last week, as we touched on. And Lyndon Dykes was a player to impress me in that kind of link role, kind of half a number 9, half a number 10. Really seems to be working for him, doesn't it?
Yeah, he was very good. He played that role against Cardiff away at the start of the season. He was very good in that as well, and it does seem to suit him a bit more, playing a bit deeper. He's a lot more involved in the game, probably less reliant on him scoring goals because he doesn't score many. But I thought he had a really good game last week, and he played well in that role the last 2-3 games. So I think that will continue with him. It worked quite well last week with Chair and Willock either side of him, and Armstrong, playing on the shoulder of the last defender. I would assume they would do that again. I know Smith was due to start last week, but I imagine it'll be Willock again.
Yeah, I mean, Lyndon Dykes, for me, he's actually more of a threat in that position because he's he's more of a threat breaking into the box, and he's hard to mark, and he's also a handful for central midfielders, isn't he? With his height and his strength, he's hard for them to pick up when he's drifting about and hard to knock off the ball. Hopefully, we continue to see him play in that position because, of course, it seems to bring out the best in Sinclair Armstrong. You mentioned him before, his first league goal at Loftus Road and in front of the Loft. We need to get him a new deal, though, don't we? Because he looks fantastic when he plays like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all the attributes, hasn't he? We've said it for the last 2 seasons. When he gets scoring, and he will get scoring eventually, he's going to be a hell of a player. And it would be nice to tie him down. I think they've got an option for 1 more year with him, but it'd be nice to get him on a long-term deal because he looks like he's starting to come down. I said 2 and 3 games he's got now. Although it was he couldn't really miss the one at the weekend. He made a big difference in the game. He just terrifies the life out of defences with his pace and his strength. He's a key player for us in this running.
Yeah, his goal was an easy one, but at least he was alert to it because there's been examples early in the season. Ironically, one was against Huddersfield where the ball was there ready to be put in the net and he was always on his heels and wasn't ready for it. So hopefully it's a good sign because I just love watching him. My concern is with him coming towards only having the extra 1 year, it always feels with a club, doesn't it? Once you have to like use that part of the deal to extend it, it suggests the player isn't wanting to actually sign a new deal because you're having to force it on them. So hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Now, you mentioned Jack Colback last week. He's obviously got one less person to contend with in midfield because we let Andre Dazelle go last week. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it was a slight surprise that they let him go, but I assume it's a financial thing. He's probably one of the higher earners there. He wasn't, he had a good chance this season. He played a fair bit and hadn't really impressed. I was fascinated by listening to Tony Mowbray at the weekend saying that they brought him in because he can pass the ball forward to the attackers and get the ball quickly wide. And I thought, well, I haven't seen that in 3 years of us. He just gives you back to the centre halves every time. Not hugely sad that he's gone. I got why they signed him in the first place, but it does leave us a little short if we're not going to bring anyone else in. Colback and Field, they like a booking, don't they? So they won't be far off a suspension soon. It does leave us pretty short there. But again, I think it's a financial issue that they must be close to this financial fair play line because they seem to be sponsoring everything they can, getting rid of anyone they can. Hopefully this is enough now.
Yes, it was just slightly odd to see such a first team player go. It's not like he's been a bit part. He'd only missed 2 league games this season, and one of them was when he was suspended. I do always say, I've said it, I think, on a previous show, I don't ever feel we need him and Dixon Bonner, though. They're too similar, so it makes sense. It just maybe could be short once we get the bans that you've talked about. If it's a good move, though, if it's freed up some budget for us to bring somebody else in. Now, you mentioned before you might bring Smith in for Willock for this game against Huddersfield. Can you envisage any other changes, or is it going to be the same again?
I think as long as they're all fit, you'd think it'll probably be the same side. I think Smith's pace is always good. I think this game, first goal is key in this game. You're going to want to start the game fast. So maybe having Smith starting, but he's very direct, isn't he? And maybe bring on Willock second half if they're all fit. Might be an option. But other than that, that is our strongest side. It's the strongest back four, isn't it? Strongest midfield. Hopefully that team will start again. We need to get that 11 on the pitch as often as we can between now and the end of the season. If we do, we've got a decent chance of staying up. If not, I still think we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I hope it's the same team. I think everyone, if the team sheet's announced on Sunday and it's the same team, will be pretty confident we can get something for the game. And I guess that brings us on to predictions. It's probably a phrase used too much in football that a game's must win. Is this one must win?
Yes and no. Obviously, we're going to be in a much better place if we do win it. I do think back to when we've been in relegation battles before, and I remember when we was in the Premier League and we went up to Bolton for a must-win game and we lost, but we still stayed up and they went down. So there's still, after Sunday, there's still a lot of points to play for. It's a must-not-lose game for me. You don't want to go 6 points behind them at this stage of the season, but a win would be lovely. It'd be such a boost to get out the bottom three after so long.
Yeah, definitely. I've got in my notes here, it just says we must not lose this game. I mean, even if we play terribly, just scrap something out of the game, isn't it? It feels like it's probably our moment, though, to make our move, because if we can get out of the bottom 3, consecutive wins, momentum is with us, this could be our chance to get out and hopefully stay out of the bottom 3 for the rest of the season. But hopefully, even a draw, there still would be another 17, 18 games to go. So just take what we can, but fingers crossed we can get a win. Because obviously next week we'll be previewing a trip to Ewood Park, which is a ground that continues to haunt QPR. So I don't think we can expect anything from that one. Let's hope we are out of the bottom 3 by then when we reconvene. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the match on Sunday and come on, you ours.
We know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.